reports. Need a second.
Second.
Second by Randy, all in favor of accepting these reports, do so by saying aye.
Mayor, you also have the audit report and the auditor's.
Yeah, I know, Mickey, good to have you. Mickey Ellis is here with the audit report. Okay, well, let's just get right into your report, Mickey.
All right.
Give you the floor.
I've got a few little things to tell you about. First of all, I've got a box full of them over there. I didn't stick them in front of your nose because I didn't figure anybody would read them tonight.
Okay.
Or tomorrow night, or whenever, but,
If anybody wants to see them, you can.
yeah, they're certainly finished up, but,
Be all right.
we issued an unqualified opinion, which is a clean opinion. That's good news. That's what tells the comptroller, your citizens, all of the stakeholders that use those financial statements that, they can be relied on, they're accurate. They're presented in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles, and all the disclosures that are required to be there by GAAP are there. So that's what you want. It's an A on your report card. The other thing that I want to point out is, for the first time in a while, your audits are caught up. Your June 30, 23 audit is not due until this December. Now, I can't say just yet where everybody that participates in this is in their process, but today, as you sit here, we're caught up, and it's been a while since we've been in that spot. I think that's good news, anyway. And we had two findings, neither of which apply to Miss Megan over here. One of them was what we call the 3-day deposit rule. The comptroller expects that any money that you take in will be deposited in an appropriate bank account within 3 days of receipt. That doesn't always happen. And the reason for that, obviously, is if money's laying around here, it's more suspect to getting lost, misappropriated, whatever. So the comptroller wants that money to find a bank account pretty quick. And I have a feeling, based on what I already know about Miss Megan and what I've heard, because your reputation is already out there. It's a good one. She's not going to let that happen. So, and then the other thing, of course, the other finding we had is your books and records are supposed to be closed within 60 days of the year and available for audit. And we know that that's kind of been a struggle in the past because of the personnel issue, but it looks like we have a real shot at getting that remedy this time around. So the general fund last year, June 30, 22, came within about $10,000 of breaking even. So that means you're budgeting appropriately, you're spending appropriately. There's nothing wrong with spending fund balance, just as long as you budget for it. So we didn't see any problems there. That's really all I have to say to you on a canned program, but if you've got questions for me, please ask, and I'll do my very best to answer them.
So we have till this December to
Right.
finish 2030.
Right. At the end of every fiscal year, you guys, me or somebody like me and the comptroller sign a 3-way contract that says we're going to get this audit done in accordance with all the regulations that apply by the end of December. And we used to be able to file for an extension. They don't do that anymore. Now they want you to give them a delinquency notice, which in effect says, yeah, we're going to be late, here's why. They want a reason. The comptroller has turned up the heat a little bit, tightened the screws, whatever you want to say about getting these reports in on time. Because what they do with Surgoinsville and every other municipality in the state of Tennessee, they combine statistics that come out of these reports. As a matter of fact, this year there's a brand new function that we have to perform it's called a crosswalk, where we have to drop your financial information into a predetermined spreadsheet that the comptroller can use to combine with all other municipalities. And from that, they get data on revenues, expenditures, statistics, and that helps with the state budget. So their position is, we don't need one that's a year old, we can't use it, we want it sooner, so that's why they're getting a little more insistent about this 6 months, but I feel pretty good about where we are as opposed to where we've been, and I know we're gonna do all we can do to get you out on time.
Larry, Megan, that's doable, I think, is that what I understand? By 23rd, by December?
Yes.
Well, the next link is Rhoda for Moss, and, you know, they're great to work with, but they lost somebody very important last year, and it's caused their wheel to wobble a little bit, but I think they're getting caught up. I know they've dropped some audits, particularly some troublesome audits, because they dumped them Ireland. But they're taking the steps to get this turned around and get it out. And I know that you guys will be one of their priorities. So.
Just one observation, it's not closing the town's books by December, it's getting the audit done by December.
Right.
So everybody has a part to play in this, and if everybody can get their part done in a timely manner, then 6 months is plenty of time to get an audit report out the door. We can do certain things here, we call it test work, field work, we can do certain things before we ever get the financial statements from Rhoda for Moss, but we can't finalize, we can't finish until we get that document in hand. And that takes a little time, so, but, you know, we'll get it. We're not gonna give up on it for sure.
Megan and Hardy, is the finding of local government, is it completed?
With Waterford Moss obtaining access to the financial records. So with that, what I've done is today, Holston Connect came in and they changed out our router, which secured an IP address. That's required for a VPN to be installed. I spoke to local government, we've made the purchase, and I provided them an update today with all the information they requested. So all I'm waiting for at this point is for them to schedule installation, which I would anticipate should be by the end of the week.
Okay.
And Waterford Moss does have a next gen access, which is our computer software that has all that financial data in it.
Okay.
That should really help them in getting done what they need to do, because people in our business, certain times of the year, we work all hours, and of course, they can't work here after town hall's closed, but you know, you probably look down at their office and see the lights on at 9 o'clock at any given time, actually being there punching away, so.
Okay, so we can get this information to you by December, by the date or when.
Yeah, I'm gonna say I would need it from Rhoda for Moss by about a month from now, by mid-November, in order for me to be able to get done.
Okay, so then approximately when would you be back here with the report for that?
On that kind of schedule, I could deliver the report in January of 24.
Okay.
And we could already have it uploaded to the comptroller's office so that they would have what they want on their date, and then we just catch your January meeting.
So then we could really breathe easy.
Really breathe easy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
My question is, this out of here, is that gonna clear up the loan?
Once we have that, we'll go to the USDA and confirm that.
Okay.
Oh,
But this over here should,
If
It
I
should
understand
be.
what he's asking, Joe, it should, because there's not another one due after this one yet.
okay,
Yeah. So in other words, that should be released.
okay.
So we need to, make that contact to USDA.
Yes, we do. Yeah, tomorrow.
You won't call him tonight.
They probably won't answer. Anybody else, have anything, any questions? Well, Mickey, we really appreciate it.
I appreciate you all very much. It's always good to come and visit for a little bit. So I'll get out of here and let you take care of other important business.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you all. Good to see you.
Yeah, boy, good to see you.
Here too.
Okay, continuing on, unfinished business, update on the school flow meter. The flow meter, I think everyone that's here probably heard this at the workshop, but anyway, the flow meter is on order. The ship date for it's the 20th, so by the end of the month, we should have that going in use. And then consider the Little House contract. I have a contract that superintendent of schools brought me, but it was simply a preliminary thing. It wasn't.
We're waiting on Mr. McCart. I'll follow up with him again. He's had plenty of fish to fry other than this, and suspect it hasn't been a priority since the town's already in the building. We've insured it, and the issue's pretty much, we're waiting just to complete the paperwork.
James, did you get hold of Amy?
Yeah. She can do 6 more months right now.
Okay.
Okay, consider the sewer ordinances and resolutions on fees.
We are still actively creating that and finalizing it,
Oh,
so that will need to be tabled till next month.
okay. Okay, Airbnb taxes.
I'll provide an update on that. I am actively working with Travis Bishop at MTAS, and I think that there's a lot more to that than what we may have once thought. So he's gonna schedule a meeting to come actually on site with me and discuss the ins and outs and kind of go from there on, is it a good move for us or not? So I'll have an update hopefully by November's meeting, depending on his schedule and mine.
Okay.
Everyone should have received an email from me, setting out what the statutes are and some other information.
I never did get that town and country, town and city magazine.
Yeah, I don't know why that's happening, but I may talk to someone at MTAS,
Anybody else
administration.
No,
I used to get it all the time.
Something I've never asked, Megan, has the town ever paid dues to be members of the Tennessee Municipal League?
I will have to follow up on that.
That may be the holdup. I've written to them, they haven't sent anything back. I get it, but if the town hasn't paid their yearly dues,
Hey, I found a grant in there one time. And,
well, there's a whole section on grants.
oh yeah, and we received it. We received a grant that I found in that magazine.
I never thought about it, but let's check to make sure that we paid the dues to be members of the league.
Okay, so we'll check into that. Okay, consider a residential trash pickup ordinance.
Again, same thing, I'm actively working with Travis, and I think what it is where tax season started, and he's had some time out of the office, I think there's been a bit of delay in our correspondence to one another. But I have reached out to him, and he's, gonna provide me something to go off of from the impasse.
Bobby, did, you ever get a hold of the people at the trailer park and Rick about putting dumpsters there?
I hadn't talked to Rick, I talked to Alice, on the trailer park. She has no problem getting one.
Well, we need it because half the time you go out there, there's garbage scattered everywhere.
And I told her we could put it all the way in the back, get it off the street, and we could back the truck all the way back there in the very back, and dump it.
Okay.
I'll get with her tomorrow and see if she's.
We'll get with Rick too.
Go ahead and get one. The lady at the pool hall, she's wanting one, but she's waiting on money, to get enough money to go to buy it. So,
Okay.
so that'd be 3. If
How did you all haul it? Did you haul it
Susan's, yeah,
trailer or?
flatbed truck,
Okay,
fit perfect.
okay.
But if we go get 2, we'll have to take the trailer. We put one in the truck, one on the trailer,
Yeah. Yeah,
so.
but Rick needs one bad at both places.
And if I can actually get Rick and Ally and Pooh Hall lady, all of them to get one, they can have it shipped to Hawkins County recycling for half of the price,
And we'll pick it up.
and we can just go down and pick it up. And they, let them pay the shipping fee. But if it's just one, we can go get it. Me and Merle had talked about that. If it's just one that we're gonna go get at a time, we can go get it. But if they get multiples, they can all get in together, and it wouldn't be so, the freight on it wouldn't be so bad.
Well, we'll take them as they come.
Yeah.
Okay, the last thing, well, it's not the last thing, but we need to consider appointing a budget committee, which we've done, and that committee, consists of Randy Collier, Megan, and Larry. So, those 3 individuals will serve on the budget committee, and that's to help, explain to the board and so on what's going on with our budget, our work on our budget each year, so that's done. And one thing under community interest, we have made, we're making preparations to start our senior breakfast back, and hopefully that will be done within the next couple of weeks. So, we'll be preparing the little house, for that to start, and hopefully in a couple of weeks we'll be having senior breakfast again. And that's all I have, unless someone has something else we need to discuss. Well, we got a good report on our audit, so got that. So they are working on Creek Road. They hope to finish it tomorrow. And, so we'll see how that goes after tomorrow.
Merle,
Uh-huh.
we're gonna start picking up leaves the 25th of this month,
Okay.
so it can be, orders to be sent out.
Are you gonna have another tire day?
First week of November.
We'll try to make sure we got can get the dumpsters like.
Okay.
I'll call,
First weekend of November, though.
Yeah.
That'd be tire, tank,
Tire, paint, junk that you got around the house, if you want to clean up.
okay. First weekend of November.
Yeah, and also if y'all would, look at your calendars real quick and set a cutoff date on those leaves so we don't get people that wait till spring to decide they want to wreck their yard.
I'd say first of February, 10th of February, something like that.
Cause we get some that wait till March and after
Oh, yeah.
wreck their yard and that runs
You,
their truck.
you all decide what cutoff is, and I'm good with whatever you all decide.
Yeah, because at a certain date, you all are gonna be pretty busy.
Yeah, they can't just run for one person just to vacuum up the
Right.
leaves. It's impossible to do that.
Yeah.
Well, Lowell B told me before he left office, and here's something we need to consider. In 25, we can't take brush to the landfill.
right, that's what, West Stone was talking about a year ago. He told us the same thing. He come out and that's the reason he started his business up here, take brush. Right now, they hadn't charged us anything to haul brush up there. Now, we hauled a bunch of brush, to West Stone,
Okay, good.
so,
Well,
that's
what
how,
about, can you take the leaves up there?
we can take the leaves up there also.
Okay, good.
Now, let me rephrase that, they changed, the guy that I talked to, Bob, was over it. They booted him out, and the two guys that was in with Bob up there is over it now, so let me check and see before I say yes on leaves. But I say they will.
Okay. Anything else? I don't have anything else, so, everybody in favor of adjourning, stand up. Thank you.
We did elevate that up higher and sloped it back towards the field.
Well, how does them people get by with running their bath water out in the road, or washing machine?
I don't know how they get by with it.
Well, I tell you what, I'm gonna go talk to them, and I think we can, at least, Joe, I think we've got a right to tell them their bath water, their clothes washing water, they run it out of the house, and it comes down on the road.
Report that to T-Dec.
It has been, they gave them a warning, and they were supposed to be following up with that.
Well, you know, it's running across the road there, that lot across the road.
Well,
They can't
yeah.
even mow it, they get their lawnmower stuck in there.
But now, the way the old road was paved, it was paved down and the water would pool up. But now it's elevated, so the water at least will run off the road, but it's still gonna pool up from what's coming to that. What we can, I think we should be able to stop is what's running down that hill
Well-
from that house.
What Randy said was that T-Dec will follow up. They will actually do that.
There's a
You
guy
can't-
on Johnson City.
Yeah, you can't discharge gray water, out on the surface. It has to be treated.
Well, but water out of the washing machine can be, from what I understand.
No. T-Dec will enforce that.
Okay.
And he swears up and down he's going to. He said he come out and gave them a warning, and then they got so many days to comply, and they come back, and then it's X amount of dollars per day.
Well, but see, T-Dec is like so many entities. They have so many people, and they hit the high spots, and unless you're the squeaky wheel, you can get lost.
Well, I think that squeaky wheel is yelling at them about every week. Miss Case, who owns the property, that they can't move the yard.
Yeah.
Somebody that's related to her is the one that's calling.
Well, see, that was her son's house.
Okay.
Which I'm sure it went back to her because they didn't have any kids.
she's renting it out, and they're getting lawnmower stuff.
Okay, where's, she's talking about they can't mow.
Yeah.
We were, like I said, we've been walking Creek Road and looking at things. But anyway, right there across the road, water was bad there. And so we found, what was it, an old water meter or something?
Yeah, there's an old water meter that where that trailer used to sit in there,
It was leaking.
is leaking.
And we called the water department and Scott came out, they fixed that. So that's, I think, is where all that water, where she couldn't mow. So that should correct it.
No, that's on the other side of the road.
That's what we're talking about.
No, her side of the road.
Uh-huh, that's what we're talking about. You remember the grass that wasn't mowed?
No, not that, not where the leak was at, this is on that side of the road where the water comes out at, that's where we're talking about.
Okay, what did Scott fix?
He fixed that meter on where all the tall grass is.
That's good, that's what we're talking about. She can't mow her lawn, that's the grass.
Does she own that too?
Yeah, she owns that whole
Yeah.
field down there.
Oh, the whole field?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know that, sorry. I thought we were still talking about.
No, we're not talking about the tree side.
Okay, sorry,
That's all right.
I didn't know that.
Okay. Okay, go ahead, sorry.
When they get that done, we don't need to take the long arm mower out there for at least 3 months,
No,
or the backhoe, we didn't want to do anything.
right. Yeah, that guy, he finally moved the sycamore limbs, cut the wood over there in that hole that they put, and I told Tony, they don't go get it. Just leave it sitting there. 'Cause we can't put no outriggers down on it,
You know.
so.
Well, they told James they'd have both trees down before we paved it, they didn't.
Well, I stayed on them every week, and they never did come. I called them every week.
Well, another thing too, Gilmore checked every street light in town, and he found 13,
Yeah, that's what he told me.
and I don't know whether any of, that guy was in here Saturday working, but I don't know what he done, how many he's fixed or anything.
Did he turn all of them in to the post one?
Yeah, it's in their engineering department,
Okay, so they know it.
yeah.
Okay. Well, okay, discuss the budget committee. So we need a chairman and a board, right? Budget committee,
If you're gonna have a budget committee, that'll be a sunshine body. I assume it's gonna be members of the board of Mayor Alderman.
should it be the board? I mean, should we just be the board for that too?
Well, then there's no point in having a budget committee.
Well, I thought that was something we had to have, or is that something we just want to have?
I understood that it was just something that somebody suggested that we
Well,
do.
Randy's been suggesting that for a long time. Which I agree with.
And
No, I see nothing.
here's what I was thinking. In helping them get the budget together, with budget amendments, being a liaison to the board to make the board aware of where we stand in the budget, basically. You not agree, Larry? And,
Absolutely.
And that's the problem that you face, is that right now, unless a member of the board takes the time to read and understand the original budget, the appropriations that have been made, where you are year to date, and all those details, you're really not aware of it. And if I understand what's being suggested correctly, someone is gonna take it upon themselves to look and give some sort of summarized report to the board, where everybody's not spending 5 hours studying the budget document every month.
That sounds fine to me. Well, so we probably need a couple of people off the board and
whoever's
Couple
interested,
people.
one or two people.
Awful. What do you think?
Yeah.
5 people, you think would be?
Four or five, either way, 5.
The more people you have, the more
Yeah.
opportunity for disagreement.
Would it be good to start with maybe just like us 3 and go from there?
Well, I can remember times when we throw our hands up and say, why do we even have a committee? It's nothing but arguing. But I think we can have a budget committee and make headway out of it.
How about we just do one board member and Larry and Megan, and then the board member can be the liaison back to the board.
I'm fine with that.
That's something that's been done. I know for years Kingsport appointed one person to deal with surplus property, an alderman. They had a audit committee, and it was essentially one person that dealt with the auditors on a policy standpoint, not to go over detail and things like that.
Yeah.
There's just so many things that an individual board member would have to take hours to do, that it would be helpful if someone gave you the cheat sheet.
Well, the thing about it is, they were in here and discussing the budget, if that's all they do, they wouldn't have nothing else to talk about, so, you know, they could lose. I mean, I can recall coming in here, all the whole board meetings 7 or 8 times. In fact, I think we got up one year to 9 meetings to try to do the budget. And every one, we were trying to find some way to balance the budget, yeah. But there's a lot of meetings.
Well, municipal budgets are very complicated. I mean, it's certainly the largest enterprise in town. I mean, there's no other business with a multi-million-dollar budget in Surgoinsville.
Okay. Megan, is that okay for you, if you sit on this floor?
What about James? He's,
I mean, each department would still be discussed with them prior to finalizing the budget. This would just kind of be some guidance and assistance from, I guess, more of a BMA standpoint. You know, you'd still have an alderman having input. That doesn't mean that the ones with the departments wouldn't be included within the, you know, to have budget discussions.
well, what I'm saying too, James has been real versatile.
Or we got James everywhere.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Alright.
He's been on, he's worked and made a lot of money off of us working on the sewer. And, you know,
But do you wanna do that, Jim?
It's up to you all. If you tell me to do it, I'll do it.
What would you need? Randy, what would you think you'd need? Start what, the first of the year? Or meet every month?
Well, let's see. The tax rolls are starting to come in now, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, it was probably November and then January, and then again in March after the books. Would you see it that way, Larry?
Yeah, and then you would also think about times when you may have to amend the budget,
Yeah.
and that could come up anytime during the year when something comes up, and all of a sudden you have to spend some more money, or you got some more money coming in you didn't know about up to that point.
But you're talking about two different things though. One is drafting an annual budget, but the other thing is to report on where are we today.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't want a budget committee that would add another step to doing all of it. I mean, I want it to help. I think that's what you're talking about. And so then advise the board where we're at, so on.
They'd be a liaison.
Right, I don't, yeah, in other words. Okay.
So who would you have?
I'd like to see Randy on, cause he's,
Well, I would too, Randy's ideal and I like it. So Randy, Megan, James.
I've been taking classes all weekend on budgets, so. I'm good.
Here's your chance to shine.
Yeah.
So Larry, did you say Larry? And he's Larry. Is that okay with you, Larry?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, attached regulations covering the planning commission.
Basically, you have an ordinance that recites, you have a 7-member, planning commission. Mayor, is one of those 7 members. An alderman is one of those 7 members. You need a member that is not a resident of Surgoinsville, but lives in the planning region.
Well, we
And,
got that,
I didn't hear you.
we got that,
And,
Hammond,
right, and you need, 3 others. I took a quick look, but not an exhaustive study. I couldn't find where planning commission members were appointed by the board. So my suggestion is, ask the members of the planning commission, when were you appointed and what's your term of office? And kind of let's memorialize and report to the board that
Joe,
these 7 people are on the board, and these are their terms of office,
I thought the mayor appointed the planning commission.
for a term. So that each planning commission member's term expires every year. They started out, one person had a 5-year term, one person had a 4-year
Yeah.
term,
Yeah.
one a 3, one a 2, and one a 1-year term. And that way each year, one person would be either reappointed or a new person appointed, but we'd have a record of what the term of office is, January 1, 2023 through January or December 31, 2028. And it's Bobby Jarnigan, you know, whatever. But I couldn't find a place where it was memorialized in the minutes. And so that's, the goal is to someplace memorialize what are the names of the 7 people and what is the term of office, other than, of course, the mayor and the alderman member. We know it's whatever the term of their membership on the board. But the other 4 members, what are their names and what is their term of office? And we just memorialize it somewhere. You can either do it at the planning commission meeting and write it down and then report it to the board, however y'all wanna do it. But
I
it's
think, what are we now, like 5 people, is that it, that's all?
supposed to have 7.
I don't know, me and you, and John, and Jay,
Warren,
Warren.
Randy.
I mean, you're supposed to have 2 members of the board, a mayor and alderman. The mayor and an alderman. And 4 people, one of whom is not a resident of Surgoinsville.
Well, we can get by with James being the
Right,
resident.
That's true. You
You'd still need.
need a total of 7. Two, the mayor, an alderman, James, and 4 other people.
Can we find them?
Well, a committee of your friends and neighbors has selected you to serve on the planning commission. You will report to the induction office.
Well, you know,
You know what I'm talking about.
we've had openings on this board. And I've made phone calls till I was sick of making phone calls, trying to get somebody to volunteer to come in and sit, you know.
Well,
And
out of the 7 members on the board, sure, look at goodness, you can find someone, pick a minister. They're always excited to participate in things. I mean, I don't know how to suggest finding people.
I'm sure Christian there, he'd volunteer.
I don't know, maybe.
Resident. I mean,
I think you are.
I am now, but not according to,
Well,
we're not
Can you
right.
not have two board members,
you have,
or three?
well, I mean, theoretically, you should have 2 board members and 5 members of the community. I mean, that's the object. I mean, if you can't find anyone,
Do what you gotta
to
do.
do what you gotta do.
What have we been requiring for a quorum? 3 or 4? Well, so that called for a 7 board member, 7-member board. Yeah. Okay, let's see.
If Randy, if you're a member of the planning commission, not as an alderman, but as a citizen of Surgoinsville, what's your term of office? When did it begin and when does it end? I mean, we need to memorialize that.
Okay. What would begin now and
January 1 and
January 1 till,
5 years, 4 years, 3 years, 2 years, or 1 year.
I want the 1 year.
Well, then you get to be reappointed.
Maybe not the whole run.
What we've got
What was
said,
the politician said? You know, if nominated, I will not run. If elected, I will not serve.
okay, so what we have right now is 7. We have 7.
Well, we just need to memorialize who they are and what their terms of office are. That's
No, but what
Just
you're
to go.
saying too, if we could find some residents to be on there, we'd be better than having 7 aldermen. Or 6, not doing.
but we can serve as citizens, right?
I don't see any prohibition against it,
Yeah.
but that's unusual.
But we've always had citizens on there because, you know, TJ Board was on there for years, and Carol Raines was on here for years. I don't remember him now, but there's been a lot of citizens that have been on the planning commission.
Well, I mean, it's just something that,
Jesse's son's name is up here.
What?
Jesse Brown, what's her?
Connor.
Connor.
Yeah.
You
Well,
could ask
in
him.
my eye, we can-
Megan could serve, she lives in the city.
Christian, Christian, would you be interested in that?
I might be.
Well, we're just gonna put you down. My dude's popular.
Just depends on
I'll
schedules.
let you know when there's a need.
Yes, sir.
All right.
but that's the goal. To memorialize somewhere in the minutes that the board recognizes that these are the 7 members presently serving in their terms of office. Beginning January 1 on such a year and ending on December 31 of such a year. And the idea being that every year, someone would either be reappointed or someone be appointed in their place. That's the goal.
Well, the planner over the years has taken care of that.
Well, but they haven't in recent times.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I mean,
But, you know, for the last 5-6 years, you don't know who's gonna be sitting there.
Yeah.
well, and therein lies the entire problem that we have. I mean, as far as I know, Surgoinsville has not opted out of the training requirement for planning commissioners in the First Tennessee Development District. I've never heard of them making any presentation for training to the planning commission. So therein is another
I
circumstance.
took one of them too. That's what I say, Joe, I've been to a lot of those. Like in Unicoi, we were required and our board members all went.
Well, you are required, but I can't find any evidence, at least in what I've looked at, that the First Tennessee Development District planners have ever made training presentations. They may have, I don't know.
Megan, would you like to serve on the planning commission?
I will do whatever you need me to do. Isn't that what you
When
said,
Cal
James?
Goode was here, I don't think we did with jury, several times with Carol Goodman. We had some training.
Well, when Al Pillay was here, he did it, and
Yeah.
Jerry Webb was here, he did it. I mean,
And Jerry still ain't combed his hair.
well, is he still alive? I haven't seen Jerry Webb probably in 15 years.
Well,
But that's the goal.
Yeah.
Uh,
We do that at a board meeting, or do we do that at a planning commission meeting?
Probably ought to confirm everything with members and find out what their terms of office are, because I can't.
I have no idea.
Well, I guess everyone's gonna have to go, my term ends on next December. And when does your term hit?
okay, when we're doing this, and I think the reason we're doing this, is that not part of the state coming along and saying we need committees for this or that or something? Was that
Well,
not-
the state changed the statute that deals with planning commissions, but it's very difficult to follow the statute because most communities, other than brand new municipalities, were appointed by the state planning commission 50 years ago. Mount Carmel was in the 60s. I suspect Surgoinsville was in the 60s. Church Hill was in the 60s. If you go back through the minutes, they accepted designation as a regional planning commission 50 years ago.
What,
But the current statutes don't recognize that because they're talking about you have the county commission participating in naming members of the regional planning commission. And that's never happened and probably never will.
okay, to sidestep maybe the process of one going off or whatever, because what's gonna happen, one will go off and we'll appoint them right back.
Well, you can be reappointed and serve for 30 years.
Okay, so,
But you have the statute requires you to have a term of office.
the statute requires that.
Well, so does the
However,
ordinance.
how you all can work it out is fine with me.
Okay, I've got 7 here, and that's not asking anyone who's a member now, like on the board here, to step down. We've got 7, I think. Let's see, Randy, John, myself, Warren, James, Megan, Christian. Is that 7? That's
Christian,
it.
you just got volunteered. You
Don't
didn't do
get
it.
drafted.
I don't think, you think you're gonna be able to do that?
Probably not.
No, yeah, don't put him, he goes to all the city meetings, his schedule is weird.
Okay.
He's just too nice to
You
say
let
no.
me know.
Well, we appreciate it anyway.
I was gonna say, how are you gonna make it to those?
You let me
You're
know.
living in Mount Carmel.
Oh, I marked.
This is
Well,
nice to
my
have.
line here's got you marked up, Bob. I didn't mark you out. Okay, we're back where we started now. That's good. Yeah.
Just-
Kristen's off, Bob's back on. There you go.
Just put a term of office next to each one, and you can discuss it at the next planning commission meeting,
Well,
and then report back to the board of Mayor Alderman, we'll put it in the minutes, and it's done.
me and Randy and Warren come turn his next year now.
Mhm.
Well, you have the mayor and an alderman. Everyone else is serving as a citizen of Surgoinsville, and they need a term of office.
Okay.
As a planning commission member, not as an alderman.
Okay, so we don't have, does it require that we change one out every year?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
You don't have to change, but they either have to be reappointed,
Okay. I got you.
and they're appointed for 5-year terms,
So
so
we need
stagger them.
we need to memorialize this.
in the minutes,
Okay,
After the
after the
meeting.
planning commission meeting.
okay.
I'll email Connor and ask him to add it to the agenda for the planning meeting, or planning commission meeting.
Okay. Okay, update regarding Rada per Moss.
That's me. So Joe and I have been actively discussing with Rutherford and Moss how to get them access. Today we had to have our router replaced with Holston Connect so that it can have an IP address secured. That's part of the requirement so that we can have what's called a VPN installed so that Rutherford and Moss can access remotely. So I've provided local government with an update and I anticipate hearing back from them this week so that I can get that set up and Ashley with Rutherford can start assisting us with finances.
So then you'll be ready to go.
Yes.
Or more ready to go.
More ready, yes.
Okay, prior estimate of 800,000 to run sewer across 11W is over a year old. Need to get this bidded out with the current estimate. Yes, I spoke to Matthew Lane Friday, and actually I talked to Matthew, I knocked out 2 birds with 1 stone, about a flow meter at the school, and I think our deadline was the 20th of September. And they came in and put a tap on the line down at the school. They got the tap, and Mark, who works for Matthew, is doing that. And he said that they got the tap on. He had to order the flow meter, and he said it'll take a week, maybe 2, to get the flow meter in. And so that, and I can't do anything about that, but the tap is in, and he said all they have to do is screw it down on the tap, and it's going to be ready to go. And so when they do that, I've also advised Chris Christian that once that's done, and we know everything's right, we will start generating our bill for the water from the flow meter, and not the, and Chris said he would pass that on to the school officials. And so I haven't heard back, haven't heard anything from that, but anyway, that's what our plan is. And today, Mark called me today and said that he talked with the people who were sending the flow meter and said their shipping date would be the 20th. He said, so you've still got a week or a week and a half or whatever, he said, before we can actually get that flow meter in. But it's on its way, and hopefully everything will be fine. And I think once we get the flow meter in and we start generating our bill from the flow meter for the school, then we need to talk to school officials and schedule a meeting to talk to the school board about
Past charges.
the past charge.
That will likely spark an interest in moving ahead, depending on what the bill is.
Right. So anyway, and then on the 800,000 for the sewer, Matthew said.
Before you, excuse me, John, did you ever have an opportunity to discuss with the district about reading that meter?
I talked to Rita.
Because that's going to be an important part, is getting the meter
Oh yeah.
read and by the district. You also probably need the meter read at Church Hill.
5th Bend.
Excuse me, yeah, with the Church
Okay,
Hill
I think-
meter at Fifth Bend.
I think we probably discussed this, I think, but anyway, the process would probably be John and Curtis or someone from the water department taking the reading from the flow meter. And proceeding from that.
I talked to Bob back there about getting one bid spent too,
Yeah,
the same day.
so this didn't set them both up, yeah, we can do it.
That way, if you have those things done at the same time that they're generating bills for the rest of the town, you're gonna have a real good, way of measuring, I, inflow and infiltration into the system.
One other question, I need to keep what kind of log do I need to keep? Or do we need to keep just a
Depending on, I'm assuming that it's a digital meter like the one at Phipps Bend. Heck, you can take a picture and download it, because the picture will have the date on it. Now there's a permanent record. There's no transcription errors. There's no nothing. That's just my suggestion.
But you do that one and these down here too, and the water meter, do all three?
You wanna find out how much of a difference there is. That's gonna be important to point out. School department, you've been billed X number, but now when we've got the flow meter there, it's Y number, and the difference is Z. And we do that for a period of time, it'll be pretty readily apparent to everybody what the problem is.
Okay, yeah, we'll do all three. Okay, then the $800,000 for the sewer, across the 4-lane, talked to Matthew Lane, and he said, I asked him, I said, we're concerned that we may need to redo this estimate, and he said, no. He said the estimate was actually $785,000, and he said, you're good. He said, he said, just leave it where it is, it's fine. He said, I don't see any need to raise it or change it, so just leave it. And then I also told him that, we would like to, maybe by the end of the year, put that project up for bid if it's possible. And of course, I've talked to Ken Ray, and Ken Ray, wanted to make sure Matthew had began the design phase of that project. And Matthew told him, in fact, I asked him today if he had them. He said, no, but I need to do that, and I will get on it and do it, so he said. So, anyway, he does know that we would like to put that up for bids somewhere around the first of the year. But he thinks we're fine with the estimate, the estimate we've got. So. Okay. Moving on, received notification from the Department of Tourist Development that 29 of the 78 applicants were chosen for the Tourism Enhancement Grant. Unfortunately, we were not selected. I think that's where you applied for a grant, Randy, applied to do something, maybe help rebuild the ferry, and we weren't selected, but I'm sure their response is just apply again next year. Anyway, that grant's there, we'll just apply for it again. So. And then received an update from Renee Mann that the contract for the 2023 home grant setup page is open. We have not received the contract to date, however, this is anticipated to be any bid here today. Okay, the setup page, is that like a computer page?
Yeah.
Where you can go ahead and apply, is that
And
what?
we'll start providing some information that they request for the
Oh,
grant,
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
And I'm working closely with Renee, and I explained to her this is my first grant, so she's kinda gave me a few things to go ahead and start gathering.
Okay. Okay, so nobody can actually apply until the day we
Right.
have their meeting.
Right.
Okay. Discuss charges and costs for town personnel completing jobs due to ordinance violations.
And there's a copy of the hourly, current hourly charges, I think it's the last sheet. And that's just something to kind of think about. It seems like there's been some violations recently, and it's required an invoice to be sent to the owner. And Bobby might have more to add. Bobby, do you have anything to add to the hourly rates?
This is a work session before.
He says that Rachel, that's good, and I called the Roswell, talked to Mark Morley. Theirs is like a $250 minimum. And then if they tear up equipment, he bases it off the state. Helps with that part, on equipment that tears up. And my question was, is we go into a lot and clean it up and tear up a piece of equipment, who's responsible for that? I mean, they're already getting charged for labor on the tractor, tractor bush hogs plus the employee, and the employee's just there. But if we tear up something,
Well,
is there something to?
I would think right off the top of my head, it would be the owner's fault, but it's probably something that wound up in Florida could, I guess, couldn't it, Jay?
Yeah, I think Vince has dealt with this before.
He told me to get with you. Remember, I called you.
That demonstrates that he has dealt with this before.
Yeah. See, I called you and asked you, and you told me to get Vince, so I got Vince, and he said that'd be something left up to the town attorney. If we, something in there that we could change in the ordinance to do that. Because
That's probably something that really needs to be considered. You know, if someone has, an overgrown lot that has scrap metal in it, and you're using a bush hog, and you find a piece of 2.5-inch angle irons with the bush hog, and it should be the property owner, not the taxpayer generally, that
I mean, we're
should bear
already
the cost.
on that
Well,
lot.
I don't know where Eddie came up with this, but Eddie told me we had to have a minimum of $500 before we could file against the property.
Well, that's true.
So,
That's in the statute,
is that state statute?
state statute, yeah.
Okay. So,
That just so you file these liens for significant amounts.
yeah,
You don't just file a lien for $50.
yeah, yeah. So if you go mow a yard for 5 times and you're just getting $50, then you can't collect it.
Okay, when you mow, like someone's yard that no one's mowed in 6 months, it's grown waist high, you take every precaution, right? Do you don't just start mowing, right?
Well,
Or do you just start mowing?
it depended on where it's at, like out here at the end of Old Stage, when we done that, we kinda knew Tony went in and bush hogged it twice before we even mowed it
Right.
with the tractor.
I walked over once.
I guess what I'm saying is if it
Well-
looks like a nice lawn, it's just waist high, start mowing it. There may be 4 cinder blocks, you know,
Well,
in there,
that's
you might
true.
run over, so, I mean, whose fault would that be?
Well,
I mean, all I'm saying is, when you do that, and we're involved in that pretty often, it's
Yeah.
not something that you hardly ever see, it's something we do all the time.
personally myself, I never walked through that down there, or Tony did, Tony
walked
walked
through
through that out there.
As long as you do that, Tony, is what I'm saying, as long as you do that, make
Yeah.
sure there's nothing to run over.
Well, I didn't know the lay of the land, so I walked through and see what it was like.
Well, I would think that's what I would do before I'd start mowing. Okay.
So is that something we wanna consider, is maybe looking at something for property damages?
We can take a look at MTS, and we can take a look at some of the other, the big cities, see what Nashville, Chattanooga, Knoxville, and Memphis do. They're the ones that probably have the most difficulty.
Yeah.
That's something that can not take a lot of time to do.
Okay. sewer file update. Okay, that's what we were discussing, I think, earlier. The problem with the 15 residents, is that what we're talking about,
Yes.
sewer file update? That's what, that's been completed on the 15. We've got work, to do on the previous customers. James and Megan are working on that. And, it's probably a slow process, but we'll work toward completing the information that we don't have. So, that's, that's in the works. Okay, employees, Christmas dinner, we've made plans, Megan, I'll let you tell everybody about our plans here, sounds really nice.
Yeah, so we have gotten together and we're gonna have a Christmas dinner this year. We're gonna do it December the 7th, so I planned it kinda early in the year so that hopefully everybody can attend. Go ahead and put it on your calendar. We're gonna meet at 6:30 at the Chalk House. The only thing I ask is that you RSVP, let me know, that way I can have adequate seats saved. You are allowed to bring a +1 if you'd like. Just be sure you text or call or email me and let me know that so that I can keep account and get us a table.
Okay. So that's for town personnel +1.
Yes.
I don't have anybody.
My dog ain't allowed to go either.
I'll leave as your.
We got ice cream.
Yeah, that's one there we can box up and bring home.
Lunch the next day.
Okay.
So we can bring one person.
One person. Just be sure to let me know so that I can account for it. I'm a planner. I'm a bit of a crazy planner, but.
Yeah, we've done that before. We've eaten in Chop House. In fact, it's not been a couple of years ago, I think.
Yeah, about 2 or 3 years ago we did.
Yeah, it was nice, so. Okay. Hey, that's all I have for the workshop. Anybody have anything else?
Ask about the senior breakfast.
Okay, the senior breakfast, again, I've got a bunch of people calling me. We do need to start the senior breakfast back. Then on the, are you at the point that we can maybe start moving those things back in those bedrooms, that's where all the storage is, and maybe clear out an area where we could have a breakfast? Do you think, is that possible?
I think so. I think we are at a point of that. Bobby has taken out a lot of the ones that we need to destroy out of the house. That would give us a lot of space, and yes, I think we are at that point.
Okay. So Bob can have some of his people go down and help you move stuff and clean the room out and get ready to have breakfast.
Yeah.
So we can plan in a week or two maybe of having the breakfast. Okay? Bob, when you can have time, have some of your folks go down and help them get stuff moved out and clean that area so we can go back. We have James's mom is going to be doing the breakfast, so we can get that started and come up with a date just to begin it, and hopefully maybe within a couple of weeks we can do that.
You ever find your VHS player?
Yeah, that's right there. It's quite ironic. It's from Cindy, and she had it all this time.
Let's take a short recess.
Yeah, we'll take, let's come back at 10 after, how's that?